Hi, everybody. Good morning. Nice to have you. Today, we are going to discuss the 4 mind changes, or otherwise known as the 4 thoughts that turn the mind towards the Dharma. There is a some note about what we're going to talk about in the description below. So do check that. Sorry, comfortable. Okay. So before we start, we want to begin with our bodhicitta motivation. If anyone is having trouble hearing me, please make a note in the chat room so that I can adjust anything. Okay. All right. So we want to begin with our bodhicitta motivation. So bodhicitta is, the definition is the wish to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So, hi, Tim. So, what that means is that everything that we do on this path is ultimately so that we can benefit others. So, just for simplicity's sake, whether you're Buddhist, whether you're non-Buddhist, if you could just make a strong wish that the time we spent together this morning learning and practicing the Dharma will benefit not only ourselves, but all beings as well. When we do that, whatever we do becomes something really much more powerful and meaningful, and it really lasts a long time. The positive energy of it, for lack of a better way of explaining it. So please just take a moment to really go into your heart, think about others, think about their suffering, and think about the fact that in order to remove the cause of that suffering, one needs to attain enlightenment. One needs to really realize the truth. So it's obvious there's a lot of suffering out there. We see it every day. So just have a moment to think about them, please. Okay. Then I want to take another minute just to think about our precious teachers. So the teachers are so important. Without them, the Dharma would not exist anymore, in all likelihood. And they are there to guide us. They are there to show us what an enlightened being looks like, to help us along the path. So really, there's nothing more important or more beneficial that anybody can do for us than that, than helping us along the path to enlightenment. So let's just think about them. Behind me here, I have Kyabche Dingo Khyentse Rinpoche, who was one of the most greatest masters of the 20th century. He passed away in 1991, and his incarnation is now, however many years that is, around 30, and is now teaching and so forth. So anyway, our teachers are Jigme Khyentse Rinpoche and Tugu Pema Wangyo Rinpoche and Taklama Rinpoche, primarily those 3. But there's so many other teachers that are really important. There is Hayam, there is, like the Dalai Lama, Zongtsen Khyentse Rinpoche, Sechen Rabjam Rinpoche, so many others, Kando Rinpoche. And we really rely on them for a sense of sanity and light in this world, which is much needed. Okay, so as I said, today we're going to talk about the 4 mind changes. Actually, we're just going to talk about the first one. So this is a 4-part series about these 4 different aspects of turning the mind towards the Dharma. So as I said, if you look in the description below, you'll see them listed, and then you'll see what we're going to talk about today. Okay. So the 4 thoughts or the 4 mind changes that we need to consider and that we actually think about every day, contemplate every day, is precious human life, death and impermanence, the suffering of samsara, and karma, or the law of cause and effect. Okay, so today we're just going to talk about precious human life. All right. So first of all, generally, I want to say changing the mind towards what? Or what does it mean to turn the mind towards the Dharma? Okay, in general. All right. What it means is that we are often kind of led away by our ignorance, by our habits, by our laziness, by distraction, by all kinds of things, that can make it difficult to practice, that can make it difficult to, just sit down on our cushion or in our chair and actually do the practice. So these four aspects are a way of encouraging us to practice, to put a fire under our butts, so to speak, so that we actually practice, so we understand, like, why are we practicing and what happens if we don't practice. Okay. So they're not very hard to understand, but they do have various details. So we begin with precious human life. It's not just precious human life, it's the difficulty of attaining a precious human life. Okay. So what are the factors that make a precious human life different from an ordinary human life? Now, it doesn't mean that we don't consider human lives precious. Of course we do. Okay. But this is something, it just denotes that we have certain characteristics in our life that allow us to practice. Okay. So let's look first at the 8 freedoms. Okay. Freedom from the 8 states where there is no opportunity to practice the Dharma. All right. So here we have being born in the hells. All right. Just calm down. Don't get excited. Okay. People freak out when we talk about this because they're like, it's just like the Catholic Church. It's not just like the Catholic Church. Okay. Nobody's teaching these things so that, or they say like, oh, you're just saying that, I'm tired of being controlled by fear. It's not about that. It's not about that. Okay. So I have to talk about the 6 realms here so that you understand what we're saying: free from the hells, free from being born in the preta realms, animals, and so forth. Okay. So, but we will go into that in more detail when we talk about the suffering of samsara in a few weeks' time. All right. So, samsara, or it's a Sanskrit word, but the English is cyclic existence. So what does that mean? That means that we have been born and reborn and over again since beginningless time in various forms, in various situations. Okay. And those various situations are roughly, summarized, let's say, into 6 realms. All right. And these 6 realms are divided according to the amount of suffering we have in each of those realms. So it begins with the God realm, what we call the God realm, which is analogous to the Christian idea of heaven. Okay. Lasts a really long time. Everybody's really happy there. It's just totally blissful and so forth. Okay. Then the jealous God realm is, you could say, maybe similar to maybe like the Greek gods. There's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of jealousy, but they have a lot of wealth, they have a lot of riches. Then the third one is human realm, which is us. So those 3 are the 3 higher realms. Then after the human realm is the animal realm, which includes everyone from the smallest insect to the biggest whale. Okay. And then is what's called the preta realm, or the hungry ghost realm. So that realm is one that we cannot see at this level of our blindness, let's say. So this one is a situation of having a constant experience of extreme hunger and thirst. Okay. And the beings in this realm have like very big stomachs and very small arms, and very hard for them to get around. And they just have a feeling of starving and dying of thirst all the time. And beings last in that realm for a long time also. Then after that, you have the hells, so plural. Okay. So there's hot hells and there's cold hells. So the hot hells are very analogous to the Christian idea of hell. A lot of burning, molten bronze, screaming, suffering, and so forth. The cold hells are increasing levels of cold. Your body starts to break apart, and then it's kind of eaten up by bugs, and it's a very painful experience. So each of these realms has an overarching cause for being reborn there, which we'll talk more about in a few weeks when we get to the suffering of samsara. But it's essentially like negative acts done with that particular emotion as the motivating force. Okay, so if you talk about the hells, why is there these two different types? The hells are the hellish experience is created by our hatred and anger. Okay, so the hot hells are the result of hatred and anger expressed, and the cold hells are the result of hatred and anger repressed. Okay, then the hungry ghost realm is the result of greed. Animal realm is the result of what's called timuk, which is kind of like willful stupidity, like just a sort of dullness and like purposely ignoring things. But we'll talk more about that again. And then the human realm is desire, jealous God realm is jealousy, obviously, and then the God realm is pride. Okay, so they're mentioned like being born in, right, as if it's a place, but actually it's not a place. It is a mental experience that we have. It's ultimately a perception that we have of what we see. And so it's our karma, the law of cause and effect, that creates that perception, actually. So it doesn't exist in reality. In ultimate reality, it doesn't exist at all. But in our delusions, we have this kind of, hallucination, if you will, of this environment. Okay? So, and each of these realms, none of these realms are permanent. Okay, none of these realms are eternal. We have that experience until the karma for that experience runs out. Okay, and they're also not gradual in the sense that you don't start low and then the next life you go a little higher and then the next life you go a little higher and so forth. Okay, the teachings say that we move through samsara like a bee in a jar, right? It's just like that. Okay, and that is because it depends on our actions. So our actions change. There's a lot to think about when we talk about karma, which again we'll talk about later. But anyway, essentially that's what we're talking about here when we say, so we're free from being born in the hells where there's no opportunity to practice because all you're doing is suffering there. You can't even think about anything else. And hungry goes same. And animals, the thing with animals is that if we're reborn an animal, we can't, even the smartest animal, like a dolphin or a horse, being reborn an animal means we cannot practice the Dharma, right? I mean, I called my dog, like his name is Omani Padme Hum. And I just call him Omani, right? Because I want to make that connection for him that after he dies, either in the in-between state or in his next life, he can hear that and he'll be drawn to it, right? But even that, he doesn't know what Omani Padme Hum means. He can't say Omani Padme Hum. He can't understand compassion. He can't understand emptiness. He can't understand really right from wrong, morally right from wrong. He knows if I give him a lot of rewards that he's done something that pleases me. But in his mind, he's not saying this is a good and moral thing to do, right? Conversely, if he misbehaves somehow and I look at him, all I have to do is look at him sternly because he's very smart actually. But anyway, I just give him a look, that's not cool. Then he understands, oh, she's not happy. But that's it for him. you know? And so that's the problem there. And again, we'll talk more about that, I think, when we go through the sufferings of samsara. But part of the problem there is that, like, they can't make a conscious decision for good or bad. Then you have a situation where certain animals, because they have to kill to survive, they just create more and more negative karma. Even though they're just killing because they have to survive, it still has a karmic weight. Not as heavy as if we kill, especially if we kill with intent, right? But it's still there. And because they do it their whole life, like tigers, like birds are really in trouble, right? They kill so many insects every single day. Cats also. So just as an aside, if you have cats, please make them indoor cats. I know people say, oh, my cat really wants to be outside. Well, that's too bad, I'd really like to never have to work, I'd really like to, I don't know, just say whatever I want to say to people, but we can't, right? The same with your cat. You're not doing them a favor, all right, by letting them out, because cats are killing machines, man, okay? They really kill a lot. They're not bringing home everything they kill. They just kill and leave it there. Birds, mice, bugs, like dragonflies, lizards, like really anything they can get their hands on, they're going to kill it, okay? And they are responsible for really decimation of millions of birds every year. So if it's possible, please, it is possible. I'm not even going to say if it's possible. Please keep them inside. You're really harming them by allowing them out, because they're just creating more and more negative karma. They'll get used to being inside. Once they realize they can't go outside anymore, they'll get used to it. They'll chill out. It's better for them. If you love them, do them a favor. It's also much better for your cat's health. Thank you, Em. It's true. Cats get really sick. They get hit by cars. There's like cat HIV or something that they can get. It's just much better all around to keep them inside. Okay. All right. So animals. Then long live God. So I talked about that. God realm. Problem with the God realm and the jealous God realm, actually, too, even though there's more suffering in the jealous God realm, but especially the God realm, they could practice the Dharma, but they're not interested in it because they're so blissed out, right? They're just like, why would they think about it? They're blissed out all the time. Their existence in the God realm lasts, I don't know, eons, I guess, really, really long time. And so it doesn't occur to them is why would they even think of wanting to get out of samsara? Okay. So this is the reason why, although the human realm comes like third in that list of the higher realms, it's actually the best realm for attaining enlightenment, for practicing the Dharma. And the reason for that is because we have enough suffering to think about like the meaning of life, right? Why am I suffering? How can I get out of this? Yeah, to look for an answer. But we have enough what they call leisure, meaning some kind of like advantages, right? Where we can, we can practice. Yeah. We have intelligence and we have, the, what do you call, like the opportunity and so forth, which we'll go into a little bit later. Okay. So then uncivilized lands. Sometimes they say barbarian lands. So freedom from being born in uncivilized lands. So all that means is places where there's a lot of negative, like the whole culture is like into kind of hunting and, killing and so forth, like just sort of very, very rough kind of existence. And then there's no Dharma there. And even if we happen to come across it, it's really hard to practice it. So that's what that means. And then incomplete faculties. So This one, it's not saying that we can't practice, like if, let's say, if we have some kind of physical disadvantage, like we're blind or we're deaf or, something like that. It doesn't, no way prevents us from practicing. It just makes it harder, especially at this time that this was written. But now, really we have the technology to overcome that much more than when these teachings were initially given. So I'm not sure that that even applies anymore as far as physical problems or sensory problems. But it does apply if we have like brain damage, for example. Okay, then we just can't understand anything, so then it becomes difficult. Then with wrong views, we're not born with wrong views, or we don't have wrong views. So wrong views is more like, they say like, we have no faith in rebirth or karma or this kind of thing. Take that for what you will. And then the 8th is we were not born in a period where a Buddha has not come. So this is quite interesting. So there are periods, there are eons, or what they call kalpas in the teachings, where Buddha has not come, has not even appeared. Okay, and that is because one needs the merit for that to happen. Okay, we have to have the merit necessary for a Buddha to appear. Excuse me. And sometimes there just are not enough beings that have that merit, and so a Buddha doesn't even come. Okay. And then how can we have access to the Dharma if no one has realized it and decided to teach it? Okay, so that is the freedom, the 8 freedoms, meaning we're free from these difficult situations. Okay, so then come the, which I didn't put in the notes, but the next is the 10 advantages. Okay, and they're divided into 2 groups of 5. The first 5 are called the 5 circumstantial advantages, meaning like we don't really have that much to do with it. It's just like that. Okay, so a Buddha has come and he has taught the Dharma, and the teachings have survived, and there are followers of the teachings, and there are favorable conditions for Dharma practice. Okay, so by the way, it says in the notes, I took all of this from rigpawiki.org, and I really recommend that site. It's very good. It's very reliable for explaining various Buddhist things. So if you ever have a question about that, you can always go to Rigpa Wiki, have a look, and see what they say. Okay. So these things, Buddha has come and so forth. So here's the thing, like either a Buddha doesn't come at all right, because people don't have the merit for it, or they come, but they don't teach. Or, as it says here, right, they come and they teach, but by the time that we're born there, the teachings are no longer around, right? So they just become kind of degenerated to the point where they just don't exist anymore. And we see that, right? In history, we can see there's texts that disappear completely. There's knowledge that just disappears completely. Where are the Mayans, who created this incredible calendar? Like, where's that knowledge now? We have to guess, I guess. I think so, right? And then the same with like the pyramids, that was some kind of technology to build those pyramids, What else did those people know? And this civilizations are gone. So we can study, and we know certain things, but we don't, we certainly don't have the whole picture because that civilization is gone. Hey, Roger. Okay, no problem. So Buddha has come for us, and in our case, has taught. The teachings still survive, and there are still followers of the teachings. So let's say that all those things like Buddha has come, but all those first 3 things are there, but nobody's following that teaching anymore. So, right, then how can we progress? How can we move forward if there's nobody practicing it, even if the teachings are still there. What's the word I want to use, but I can't think of it. Okay. Then there are favorable conditions for Dharma practice. Okay. So that means that we can practice. Okay. That it's available. We're not like in the middle of a war zone yet. Okay. Everything's impermanent. And so we have the opportunity. We live so far in a country that allows us to practice. Everything's impermanent. This we'll talk about next time. It's not going to be next week because I'm doing something else next week, which I'll talk to you about at the end. But so in 2 weeks' time, yeah, then I think. Anyway, sign up for the newsletter so that you know what's going on here, because even I can't keep track at this point. But I don't do this YouTube thing on the last Sunday of the month, just so you know. Okay, so anyway, where am I here? There are favorable conditions for Dharma practice. Oh yeah, so I was saying that for the moment, we're not living in a war zone. For the moment, we have freedom to practice Buddhism or the Dharma, right? That's impermanent. We have a tendency to think that everyone has a tendency, really, to think that things will stay the same. Things will stay the same. Things will always be here. I'll be alive tomorrow. I'll have all my faculties tomorrow. I'll be able to walk tomorrow. That's changing. That's possible to change, right? I mean, who could have predicted what's happening now in our government, right? And that's a pretty dangerous situation that is not far from having a lot of our freedoms removed, including freedom of religion. Okay. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't happen, but I'm just saying it's possible. Okay. So then the 5 personal advantages. So this is more to do kind of with our personal karma. Okay. Being born a human being. So as I said earlier, right? So being born human means it's really the best life to have out of these 6 realms, because we can practice the Dharma, and yet because it engenders a desire to practice the Dharma, right? Because we have enough suffering where we start to think, I need a way out of this. This is crazy, right? But we have enough kind of leisure, enough capabilities to actually practice it. Okay. All right. Born in a central land. So a central land means a place where Buddhism kind of flourishes. Okay. It used to be India at the time of the Buddha. Then after the Muslim invasions, that just kind of wiped it out almost completely. So right now in India, pretty much the only ones that are practicing Buddhism are the Tibetans in exile from Tibet. Okay. India as a whole is a vast majority are Hindu. Then the next in line is Muslim. And then I think Christianity is 3rd, and maybe Buddhism is 4th or something. Also, there's Sufis and this other religion I can never think of. Anyway, various other religions as well. So, so after India, then Tibet became like a central land, right? But then in the late 50s, when China invaded Tibet and is still practicing genocide there and doing everything they can to destroy Tibetan culture, destroying monasteries, destroying the environment, not allowing them to speak their own language, not allowing them to practice Buddhism and so forth. I don't think it can be called a central land anymore. Okay, even though there's still a lot of people who practice there are still monasteries, but you're really taking a chance. Okay. So right now, I would say it seems to me that really the West is a central land, okay? We have access. We have access to all the different schools of Buddhism, actually. We are, studying it, we're learning it, we're practicing it. You have ordained people. Okay, so we have the ability to practice. Okay, with faculties intact. So everything works. Okay, especially the mind. That's really the main thing. That we don't have debilitating mental disabilities. Okay, and then our lifestyle is not harmful or wrong, hopefully, right? So that means like we're not making and selling weapons, we're not, hunting, we're not trafficking child sex slaves or whatever, right? We're not doing anything that is very negative, okay? With faith in the three pitakas, that's been, there's various ways of that particular thing. Sometimes I just say with faith in the Dharma. The three pitakas means basket, okay? So that's I forgot now. The Vinaya, the Sutras, and something else I can't remember. But anyway, it just broadly means the Dharma, okay? Okay. So we have some faith in the Dharma if we are practicing. Like if we're just studying to learn about it, nothing wrong with that. People can do that. They do it all the time as a scholarly endeavor or as a curiosity way of fulfilling their curiosity. Okay. But once we start to actually take it seriously and start to practice, then we might not have like total faith. We might not believe everything that is taught, but we have generally faith in the Dharma. We see the teachers, the masters, and we sort of, okay, cool, right? They clearly have something. That was my experience, right? When I met Jingo Khyentse Rinpoche in France in 1990, and there were a bunch of other masters there because it was actually the last time that he was teaching. It just blew me away, right? And I was like, these people have something. They have something, and I want it, okay? I want it, right? They are clearly not ordinary beings, and they know what's going on, and they're quite special. And how did they get there? So that was my really initial big interest in Tibetan Buddhism or Vajrayana Buddhism. Before that, I had been practicing Theravada Buddhism, which we can talk about another time if you want. Okay, so that is very, very briefly, because really we could teach for months just on this. The components that make up what's called a precious human life. Oh, one more thing that's really, really important. It's not just, oh, hey, I have this precious human life. It's that it's so hard to get. To have all of those conditions met is extraordinarily difficult. Extraordinarily difficult. Okay? The typical example, the traditional example they give in the teachings is they say, imagine the 7 seas, okay? And on top of that is this kind of golden ring. They say yoke, like for ox, but we don't have this experience. So just think like golden ring kind of floating around, just aimlessly floating around on the 7 seas. And in the ocean, in these 7 seas, is a blind tortoise, okay? And every 100 years, he comes to the surface of the water. The chance of having a precious human life is the same as if he comes up every 100 years and his head happens to go right in the middle of this golden yoke. So if you think about like what are the actual chances of that, it's almost nothing. Okay, it's almost nothing. So someone actually did like statistics on that, I guess, with their computer. And they said that like they worked out the number, and it's like the chances are 1 in 1, and then just pages of like zeros. The number was so huge, right? So that might be a little bit, maybe not the best example for people of our day. But let's say this, okay? Let's say that having a precious human life is like winning the lottery. Not the big ones, right? Where you see the what do you call that? Billboard, right? Where you see the billboard. The number is now 47 million or whatever, big number. And that's the one that like everybody starts to buy, more people start to buy tickets for. So it becomes even harder to win because there's so many more people actually buying tickets. So your chance of winning that, I should go this direction, I guess, goes down and down and down. All right, so let's say that you bought a ticket, you bought a lottery ticket, and you watched on the TV or you saw in the paper, I don't know, I never played, however you find the numbers, okay? And you see that you won. You can't believe it, right? Oh my God, I won the lottery. You're looking at your ticket, you're looking at the numbers, ticket numbers. You can't believe it. I won the lottery. That's like having a precious human life. Now, what are you going to do with precious human life? What are you going to do with that lottery ticket? A lot of us win that lottery, let's say, of having a precious human life, and then we don't use it. We just waste it. I don't want to practice. Oh, it's too much effort. Oh, right? We get like that. I'm sorry. I've been doing this for 30 years, more than 30 years now, and I still do that. Okay? It's a very strong habit. Kind of cold, sorry. Right? It's a really strong habit that we have. We don't want to use it. We don't see the value of it as part of it. We don't see how hard it is to get. We don't see how valuable it is. So what do I mean by that? It's the most valuable thing we have is a precious human life. It is that can get us out of this round of birth and death, which is nothing but suffering. Okay? There's nothing else that can do that but a precious human life. All right? Nothing else we have, at this point, besides a precious human life, that can really help, lead us towards enlightenment. And what is enlightenment? Freedom from suffering once and for all, once and forever, Tuku Rinpoche used to say. Freedom from suffering and freedom from ignorance. Like, who doesn't want that, right? But if we don't practice, turn the mind towards the Dharma, means turn the mind towards practicing, what is the point? What is the point of having a precious human life if we never practice? Okay? That is exactly the same as having a lottery ticket and just not cashing it in. Imagine that. Imagine that. You win the lottery and you're like so excited and you've been playing the lottery like your whole life. Let's say that. You've been buying lottery tickets since however old you need to be. I don't know. Do you need to be a certain age? Let's say since 18. Since the age of 18, you have been buying lottery tickets every day. Let's say every day you buy a lottery ticket, hoping to win. Okay, and now you are 48. So every day for 30 years, you've been buying a ticket, hoping to win the lottery. Finally, you're 48 and you win the lottery. What would you do? Of course, you would go and take that ticket and cash it in, right? That's what it's saying. Cash in your precious human life, right? If you don't, if instead of practicing, just, I don't mind, I don't care, it doesn't really matter, right? Then we waste that opportunity. It's the same as winning the lottery, having the ticket in your hand, spending 30 years every single day, however many days that makes, okay? And then you win the lottery and then you're just like, I just don't think I'm gonna cash that. I'm tired. It's raining. I'd rather watch TV. I don't feel like getting in my car and driving all the way over there just to cash this lottery ticket. Who would do that? You'd have to be insane, right? It's the same. That's why this comes up. That's why we have to think, oh my God, I have a precious human life. Not only that, it's so, so hard to get. I need to use it now. So these are the things that get us on the cushion or on the chair. If you're like me, you can't sit on the floor anymore. Okay? All right. So we went quite a bit over the time I normally talk, but I really wanted to do this series. I think it's quite important. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some meditation. I don't know who here has done it before. I don't know who here hasn't done it before. So I'll give you the basic instructions and then we'll just do it. Okay. So we're going to do mindfulness or breathing practice. Okay. And that comes with taking and maintaining a certain posture, which helps the mind in meditation. And then focusing on the breath, sensation of the breath as it comes in and out of the nose. And then letting the thoughts come and go. This is the thing that we're doing with our mind, okay, is we are allowing the thoughts to arise, dwell, and disappear on their own. So what does that mean? So that means we don't engage in them, okay? We don't run after them. We don't follow them. So let's say that you're sitting and you have your posture, which I'll explain in a second, and you're focusing on the sensation that's there to keep your mind here and now, which we almost never are. Okay, here and now, right? And thought arises. I can't think of anything. It's sunny today. It's a nice day, let's say. Okay. Oh, we have this thought. It's a nice day. So what we want to do is just let that go. Let's let that pass through like a cloud in the sky. It'll be replaced by another one, right? Oh, I need to do my laundry. That'll be replaced by another one. I miss my teachers. That'll be replaced by another one, right? Those things just keep going. Meanwhile, you just are a mountain. You are Mount Everest sitting, watching your breath. And the clouds that go by Mount Everest just go by Mount Everest without any without getting upset about it or without getting involved, okay? So what do I mean by that? This is what we want to avoid. We're sitting, we got our posture, very nice, focusing on the breath. Thought arises, it's a nice day today, and then we're off and running. Oh, after this is done, I'm going to have lunch, and then I want to go to the park. Oh, but there's probably going to be a lot of people in the park. Should I take a mask? Shouldn't I take a mask? What about my dog? How's it going to be? Do I bring water? Do I not bring water? And then we start to go back to the past. Remember my first dog, his name was that, this happened, blah, blah, blah. And then the whole meditation session goes, and we haven't done really a second of meditation. That happens, okay? That happens. Especially at the beginning, that happens, all right? So when that happens, I won't even say if. When that happens, when you realize, oh man, I just got totally distracted. That's great. That's a very good thing, okay? That is your natural awareness arising. That's the very thing we're trying to access and, I don't want to say develop, but recognize, let's say. And you want to get more and more cases of being aware and fewer cases of being distracted. So when you realize, oh man, I just really went off, don't make it a big deal, all right? Don't beat yourself up. This is something Westerners do too. Don't beat yourself up, man. Just, that's cool. That's the very thing we're trying to develop. So go, oh, great, I realized it. Natural awareness, awesome. Come back to the breath, okay? All right, very easy. Well, very simple, but not necessarily easy. All right, so what you want to do is if you're sitting on the floor, just cross your legs in whatever position is comfortable for you. If you're sitting in a chair, all you need to do is have your feet flat on the floor. All right, everything else is the same. So for your hands, either they should be palms down on your knees or palms up like that in your lap, right? Or with your fingers on top of each other and your thumbs touching like that. That's the most, just ignore my wanky thumb. Okay, so that's the most formal meditation. It's called meditation mudra. Okay, so you can do that, or just have your palms or hands down on your knees. Then arms are relaxed, so you're not holding them in, you're not holding them out. All right. Back is straight. So this is really actually the most important thing, is that your spine is straight. Okay, so do that, but not tense, right? Just straight. So that's going to mean your chin is tucked in a little bit. Just roll your shoulders back to kind of open out your chest. Breathing, your mouth is closed, tongue resting on the roof of your mouth. Breathing through the nose. Ideally, your eyes should be half open. So if you look straight ahead and then just lower your eyes halfway into a relaxed, lowered gaze. If this is really uncomfortable for you, just close your eyes. Our teachers really recommend training over time to have your eyes open. So you can close them for a little while, open them for a little while, close them like that until you get used to it. Okay? So we're holding the body like this because it helps the mind in meditation. All right? So now you have all the instructions you need. I'm going to ring the gong to start, and I will also ring the gong to finish. Okay? So just focus on the breath, allowing that sensation here to keep your mind in the present moment. Let the thoughts come and go. When you realize you got distracted, just come back to the breath. Simple. Okay? Okay, now please begin to count the breaths, counting either every in-breath or every out-breath to a total of 10 breaths. So the reason we do this is because it helps us to realize more quickly if we've gotten distracted. So let's say you get to 4 and you jump into some big storyline and you're off and running. As soon as you realize that, your natural awareness arises. Just bring the mind back. Start again at 1. You get to 10, come back to 1. If you go beyond 10, as soon as you realize that, because it's another form of distraction, just come back, start again at 1, okay? So please do that now. Okay, so it's kind of brief today, but I hope that was helpful for you all. Before we do the dedication, and I do finally remember to put the dedication prayer in the description. So scroll past the notes for Precious Human Life, and then you'll see the dedication prayer. But before that, I would like to know if any of you have any questions. So if you have a question, you got to write it quick, okay? Because I don't wait. I'm like Judge Judy. I don't wait. I'm not waiting. I don't see any questions. Okay, so let's do the dedication prayer, and then I will. Then I have a couple of announcements to make, and then we can get on with our days. Okay. So dedication prayer. So you'll see there's four like couplets. The first is the Tibetan, the second is the English. All right. So we're going to read first in English and then in Tibetan. Okay. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy, wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of cyclic existence, may I free all beings. Sönam di tamché zikpa ni chogne nye pe dronam pamche shing ke gana chi balon trupaye sepe tsole droa sho. Subagai mebo, anurak mebo, sorry, Sribe Richards, Harakan Suchme, Chitam Shri, Yang Kuru Hung, ha 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 ha, ho, Bhagawan, Sarta, Karavajma, Mizabadaba, Samayo, Sato. All right, so announcements. Please sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already. If you're able to make a donation, I understand that it's hard times for many, but if you can, please do make a donation. There's a link for that underneath. It really will help us to continue to offer free things like this. Okay. Next Sunday, we are doing an event in support of Black Lives Matter. It is called Practice for Justice and Peace. So you can look on the site. If you haven't already received the newsletter, you can look at our website, link below, and just click on events, and everything will be there. It's free, but you do need to register so we can send you the link, because we're going to be doing it via Zoom. All right, that means I'm not going to be here next week because we'll be doing that via Zoom. Okay, and I think eventually I may stop these YouTube things altogether, but let me look, not until we're done with this series. So next week is the Zoom event, and then after that will be children's meditation. So it won't be until oh my God, it's almost July already. It won't be until July 5th that I'm back here on YouTube, okay? So keep that in mind. Please join us next Sunday. I think it's really important that we put that loving, compassionate energy out into the world right now. We're so beset by conflict and hatred and ignorance, and it just makes me want to weep. It's so sad. So, but we can do something. And, I had to think about what it is I can do. What can I do? I can't march because I can hardly walk. And I am at pretty high risk of getting COVID. So I'm also concerned about that. All right. And I think every person needs to look within themselves and see, what do I have to offer? What do I have to offer the world? What am I good at? What can I do? And this is something I can do. So this is what I'm doing, okay? Helping us work with our minds, helping us to see things a little differently, helping us to maintain some sense of sanity in the middle of this turmoil, okay? All right. So I hope to see you next week on Zoom. Make sure you register on the website. You can look at all the information that you need there. And that's it. So thank you so much for coming this morning. And I look forward to seeing you soon. It's a beautiful day. Please enjoy it safely. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.